Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the weather warnings as we have a yellow warning issued for wind. Then we'll have a look at the UKV, look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. It's remaining very unsettled with a lot of bouts of precipitation coming in from the west, but as we'll see with the mid to longer range charts on the GFS, GM, ECWF and the ensembles, as we head into the first week of December, in about a week's time, things are all going to be changing. Looking highly likely we go under a cold, higher pressure system with the potential for some real cold weather throughout the first 10 days of December. All operational runs today are either showing us bitterly cold weather or poised to be bringing in bitterly cold weather at that day 10 to day 14 time frame. The ensemble members are still very much a little bit volatile, a little bit all over the place, which is expected when you get one of these very uncertain sort of blocking patterns, but they are generally below average, and we are seeing some very cold runs appearing. So the first 10 days of December could be extremely interesting this year, and I'm expecting us to be seeing at least colder than average conditions, potentially very cold conditions, and there always is the possibility of some real winteriness and maybe even some snow as well. And of course, we did see some of these really cold runs, widespread snowfall is very possible. So we'll have to see what that is showing in the second half of the video, but once again today, very strong signal for very cold weather towards the start of December. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now start on the live radar, you can see we've got this wet and windy weather. We've got a big band of precipitation moving in at the moment. As I'm calling this, around 1:30, we've got a very big area of rain moving in. It's moving through quite quickly, very blustery as it moves through, and squally features along it. If you're under one of these sort of red areas, you're going to know about it. It's going to be extremely intense rainfall out there, and gusty wind. Should only last maybe 10 to 15 minutes maximum, but could be quite severe under that and could cause some surface water flooding temporarily. It should sweep through and clear through this evening, and then we've got a lot of heavy, thundery, blustery showers moving in behind it as it does move through. Now, if you put on the temperatures as of around 1:30 this afternoon, you can see widely it's not too bad. Still generally around average, with temperatures in around that high single digits and low teens. But of course, next week it's going to be turning much colder, with highs more likely towards the mid single digits widely, and overnight temperatures down towards freezing or lower than that. So yeah, even though it's not particularly mild at the moment, do enjoy this slightly milder conditions compared to what's coming next week. If you do go to the weather warnings, we do have a wind warning issued for parts of Scotland, and then we have still got the rain and wind warning for parts of southwest England. Now, if you do start on this wind warnings from 8 AM today till 2 PM, so it's about to expire, so this is a little bit irrelevant for this video. But again, 40-50 miles per hour, maybe 60-70 miles per hour on exposed coasts. Another wind warning here is from 7 PM this evening until midnight tonight. So this is warranted for this video because most people will be watching this just before this comes into force. 55 to 65 miles per hour with heavy showers and thunderstorms again for this evening. And then we have this other rain and wind warning that expires at 7 PM, and that's because of the squally band of rain we just saw on the live radar, and there could be some lightning with that, and maybe 10 to 15 millimeters and maybe 20 to 25 millimeters in a few places, and of course 56 miles per hour inland and maybe 60 to 70 along coasts. Now, if you go to the UKV and have a look what the precipitation and the temperature is doing over the next 5 days, and you can see that band of precipitation moving through at the moment. Very thin but intense band sweeping through, and it should clear the east coast by around 7-8 PM this evening. As it moves through, we've got heavy, blustery showers moving in, and maybe some thunderstorms across parts of Wales as it does move in, and that's why we've got that warning in force. As we head into Friday, it's not too bad of a day in general. As we head through the afternoon, it's actually quite dry in central, southern areas. The only area really seeing any precipitation is parts of Scotland and maybe southern Wales, with a few dotted showers here or there. As we head through Friday evening, another batch of precipitation looks likely to be moving in from the west with thicker cloud, and you can see that through Saturday. Real horrible conditions wash out most through Saturday morning in the west and the evening overnight further eastwards. Most should wake up on Sunday and it should be a little bit drier, but that rain is going to linger in the south and the east and could give more rain through Sunday evening with showers further northwards and westwards, and as we head into Monday, a little bit drier. And by this point, the higher pressure is starting to take influence. We'll look at the pressure. You can see high pressure is ridging up from the south and it will be taking over our weather over the course of the next couple of weeks. And giving potentially big blocking and cold weather towards the end of the start of the month. Sorry, so yeah, very interesting. Gonna have to be watching out that as we head into December. If we look at the max temperatures, you can see overnight tonight it was not too bad, maybe 5-6 degrees, and this afternoon seeing temperatures rising to maybe 10 to 12 max. So again, not too bad. Around average, maybe slightly above average for this time of year, but anyway, nothing too abnormal. As we head through this evening, mid-single digits again, and as we head into Friday, see those temperatures in the afternoon rising maximum, again 9, 10, 11 degrees, and as we head into Friday, you see again 5-6 degrees in the evening into Monday morning, Saturday morning, and into Saturday afternoon, maybe 10 to 12 degrees. Into Sunday, again, not too bad overnight, in the afternoon again, 9 to 11, and then into Monday. Quite cold overnight there, mid to low single digits for many. Monday afternoon, maybe more towards 8 to 10 degrees, and then starting to turn colder through early hours of Tuesday. As the higher pressure nudges up, even the air masses don't change all too much. With higher pressure, settled weather, more clear skies, those temperatures are going to be falling a lot. So that's why I've said, as we head into early December, regardless of how cold the air mass does get, it's likely to be below average, quite cold conditions, just because we'll see an inversion under the higher pressure, even if we don't get any easterly or northerly winds in. But it's looking quite likely we do see some sort of easterly or northerly as we head into the longer term, as we'll see on the GFS, GM, EastWF and the ensembles now. So do run over to the GFS. This chart is quite exceptional today in the very long range, the extended range of 300 hours plus. From around day 10, it goes to what we're expecting with high pressure over the top of us, but not pulling off anything exceptional before it retrogresses up towards Greenland and produces an incredibly cold northerly wind. Ridiculously cold northerly wind, something that if it came off, we'd be all plunging into the freezer, widespread snowfall, huge disruption. But it is an extended range chart, but it just shows you what possibility there are for December. Now, if we run through it, at the start you see generally westerly flow at the moment. Higher pressure does build in as we head into next week, over the top of us initially, and you can see it starts to try and pull an easterly wind in, but never fully comes off. You can see we actually stay a little bit more westerly for the first couple of days. More slow moving, a little bit more blocked, but nothing exceptionally cold. And then eventually, towards the 4th and 5th, we get a bit of an easterly flow in, but it's nothing too exceptional. You're thinking here, around day 10, day 11, where's the easterly gone? And what's happened instead is the westerlies hold off, but as we head to 384 hours, the blocking eventually wins, and look at that higher pressure towards northern Canada and Greenland, and look where the wind direction is coming from. We're plunging into a bitterly cold northerly wind. The upper air temperatures, minus 10 degree isothermal in Goldfuss, the minus 15, and I wouldn't be surprised if the minus 20 got close to us. Again, sea surface temperatures are quite mild this time of year, and generally compared to average this year. So it will get moderated quite significantly, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got engulfed by the minus 10 isotherm and maybe got the minus 15 into Scotland, but a ridiculously cold air mass moving in there that would plunge us into the freezer. If we do have a look at the potential equivalent temperatures, look at that ridiculous cold pool there towards Greenland and Svalbard heading our way. And again, the temperature deviation, minus 12 degrees. 12 degrees plus below average heading our way. Ridiculous cold. Again, it goes through different routes than we've seen recently, but it's still getting us into that colder weather because that blocking pattern is recurring, just moved more towards Greenland than towards Scandinavia. So there still is a lot of volatility in the models, but they're still producing blocked and cold weather. Today, the GFS does it through a different route, through a northerly flow, which could actually be quite a bit more severe than easterly because, of course, coming from the North Pole, it is quite a lot colder this time of year than the near continent is, whereas in a month or two's time, the near continent will probably be colder or as cold as a northerly airflow. So northerly wind would even would be even more potent than an easterly this time of year. So this could be really quite severe. If we do have a look at the GM, see what that does. Again, it does go cold, but it produces something slightly different at day 10. We see the high pressure try and build in, and it actually goes for an easterly there around day 7. So this time next week, we're into an easterly wind. More of a southeasterly, so the air mass isn't particularly cold, but it would be chilly, a bit of an inversion, maybe some showers around that, some cold rain. But watch what happens to the high pressure. It moves towards Greenland, and what you'd expect here is a northeasterly. Look at that cold air up towards Svalbard and Scandinavia. That would be plunging our way if you gave that another 2 or 3 days because of the Greenland block. So the blocking slightly further eastward, so less of a direct northerly, more of a northeasterly, but producing very similar, very cold weather. So again, this run doesn't go exactly cold, but it is poised to bring bitterly cold weather in for the UK. So yeah, very interesting again seeing that from the GM, and look at the temperature deviation. Very cold weather towards northeast, and that would be heading our way. If we look at the ECMWF to day 10, again, a westerly flow at the moment, higher pressure trying to build in, eventually gets an easterly wind in around day 7. Quite cold initially, and that high pressure just stays there, and this goes for a proper easterly. Again, initially we see a colder air mass before a bit of milder air gets dragged in, but it would probably be cold at the surface because of an inversion, but because the easterly keeps going, look at all this cold air building towards Eastern Europe. Give that another day or two, and that would be plunging our way. So again, ECMWF, similar to the GM, showing a very cold pattern, but not quite showing the cold air getting to us in the day 10 time frame. We'd have to wait another couple of days of the blocked weather to see that cold weather coming in. So all 3 runs today producing something very cold through the first 10 days of December. All 3 of them in slightly different ways, but all with higher pressure blocking, and eventually in sort of the day 10 to day 14 time frame, dragging bitterly cold air our way. Again, it might not come off, but this is increasing signs that the atmosphere is poised to be plunging cold air towards northwest Europe. Whether we see it, or whether we just see moderately cold weather, or whether we just see a bit of an inversion under higher pressure, we'll have to see. But right now, it is, looking very, very interesting. And this is something we're going to have to keep a real close eye on over the next few days. Now, if you finish on the ensembles, you can see the London ensembles here. They're actually not that cold. They're generally below average for the first 10 days of December, but maybe only a degree or 2. Quite a few colder runs, but also some keeping a little bit milder. But look at the operational run there, generally around average, if not above average. But we saw from the chart how it plunges colder around the 10th of December. So this is an example of where the ensemble charts don't show the full picture, because that cold air is poised to get towards us, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the same with a few of these other milder runs, where they are showing generally milder air masses, but either there's a bit of an inversion taking place, so it's colder at the surface, or we're on the cusp of very cold weather and the time frame doesn't quite bring it in, or just slightly misses us, or something like that. So that's one downside sometimes looking at these charts, is that they don't always show the full picture of the pattern. But you can still see there are plenty of cold runs, and we need to see this probably shore up a little bit more in the longer range before we have a bit more certainty with it. But all 3 operational runs are on board with something colder, so we have to see really what happens with that. Another sign is looking at the dew points, all heading towards freezing around that 5th to 10th of December point. So again, very cold air masses from the majority of the ensemble members. And of course, if we compare it to the ECMWF from the midnight run, again, around average, if not slightly below average, and quite a few colder runs. But a bit of a split, but mostly colder runs. And again, you can see the ECMWF operational there going above average, but we saw that it was poised to bring us colder if we ran it on to around the 6th to 10th of December. So yeah, very interesting seeing this from the ensembles today. Still on the colder trend, but all of the different ensemble members and operational runs are getting that cold weather to us in a different way, or in a different pattern. So we'll have to see exactly how it does play out, but for the time being, we just got to keep our eyes peeled on the models and just see what they do pull off in the next few days. It's a very interesting first 10 days of December, though. Mark my words, we're going to be seeing something colder, but whether it's extreme cold or just slightly colder than average, we will have to see. But something interesting is definitely brewing for the start of December. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you enjoy the mild weather we do have now, because we could be going into the freezer potentially into December. And I'll see you again for another video soon.